Hello and welcome to the Devil Cyborg Podcast. It's episode 28, and I feel like a new lease of life. I feel like a lot of pressure has come off my shoulders, if it will, because exam season is over, the summer has begun, and I am really excited to start this summer with a bang. So we'll start off with episode 28 of the Devil Cyborg Podcast, and it should be a blast. So, without further ado, let's kick it off. So, what's been happening in the world of Devil? Well, as I said, exam season's over. I had my first exam on Tuesday, so my first exam I had already had before the last podcast was out, and since then I've had two more exams. Luckily, they all went great. If you do care about my educational, if you do care about how I do educationally, I did well, I hope. Yeah, that's all done. And I moved out of my uni accommodation. I'm now back at my family house and staying here for the summer. I've got a place for next year, however, we move in on 1st July, and then I'm not really going to stay there for the whole time. And it's a lot of stuff, It's a new experience, but I'm sure I'm going to get to it quite easily. I'm back at home. Now I've moved out. Amazingly, I was able to fit all my stuff into one car, which is actually impressive, come to think of it. Yeah, everything's coming up Millhouse, as they say. Other things, personal-wise, not much has really happened. It's basically just been revising, really. But I will say one thing that did happen recently, which was one of my greatest mornings, and this sounds like a very weird story to get into if I'm saying my greatest morning, but we're going to do a quick transition into the wrestling, because on Sunday morning for the UK lot here, maybe Sunday early morning for the US lot, New Japan hosted their second biggest show, Dominion, and by God, it's probably one of the best things I've ever watched. Maybe it's a recency bias thing, I'm not sure. However, it was one of the greatest things I've watched, and I remember waking up at like 6 AM to watch Wrestle Kingdom 12. It was a lot of fun. Some highlights, for example. Actually, let's run down the card. So we start off with a nice little junior heavyweight tag team match between Roppongi 3K and Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado are the junior heavyweight tag team champions right now. And it's a pretty good match. It's a good showcase of the junior tag division what they have right now. And I believe it ended with a whiskey bottle hit over the head, which is kind of it's a finish and a half, I can tell you that. So basically, Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado retained their tag team championships, and no one really knows who's going to challenge them next. Oh no, wait, I think they might challenge Alex Shelley and Motor City Machine Guns, so that's something. Right, let's have a sip of water before I carry on, Jesus. So yeah, next up was some tag team matches. They're not too important. Some of them had little important things. For example, the one straight after it was Juice Robinson and David Finlay Jr. versus Jay White and Yoshihashi, the legend himself. And it was a good undercard match. Juice Robinson getting the pin on Jay White and making it official that he's challenging Jay White for his IWGP US Championship at the G1 special in the USA in San Francisco's Cow Palace. So that was pretty cool. We had... actually, can I remember what the next one was? No, I cannot. We had Minoru Suzuki versus... Yeah, we had Minoru Suzuki versus... No. Okay. Whew. Right. So, we had Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki of Suzuki Gun versus Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii of Chaos. And currently Tomohiro Ishii is the Revolution Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion, one of the UK promotions that's basically partnered with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki are the Rev Pro Tag Team Champions. So it's a bit of a Rev Pro match here, even though they are firm members of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it's setting up some matches because RevPro is hosting Strong Style Evolved UK, a little UK New Japan card with a bit of British talent sprinkled in as well. Such matches we're getting Minoru Suzuki versus Tomohiro Ishii, Zack Sabre Jr. Minoru Suzuki versus Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr. and some other things as well. I think Walter versus Yuji Nagata. There's quite a few cool ones on there. I think you've got, let's see if I can remember this, El Phantasmo versus Tiger Mask versus David Starr versus Taiji Ishimori. That's going to be a fucking banger of a match, Jesus. Basically Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki got the win, and at the end, Minoru Suzuki and Tomohiro Ishii had a bit of a brawl at the end of it, kind of signaling, we're feuding right now, I hate you. The Never Openweight Championship, the current champion Haruki Goto put his belt on the line against Michael Elgin and our Holy Lord Tai Chi. And in a plot twist of events, Michael Elgin won. Oh, it was a good match. It was fairly good. However, I'm not excited with who won. Not many people like Michael Elgin just because of allegations he's had. I say allegations. I don't want to get on anyone's bad side. I mean, I've already said I don't like him, but yeah. So yeah, a bit of an odd result, but a fairly firm match anyway. The IWGP Tag Team Championship match. Eve and Sanada put their belts on the line against the I say newly, but we saw it. We saw a Strong Style Evolved that they faced the Golden Lovers in a 5-star match, and it was one of my favourites of the year. The Young Bucks beat Evil and Sonata, and they became the IWGP Tag Team Champions, becoming the first... Not the first. They were 7-time Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and now they've got the IWGP Tag Team Championship as well in their arsenal. So a good win. It was a very good match. I think it was Nick Jackson selling a bit of injury. He kicked the pole, injured his leg, and really played it up well. I think the Young Bucks are starting to try and put a lot of injury spots to try and work psychology and stuff like that, just to like prove people wrong, I feel, but I'm not sure. Yeah, fairly good match overall. Maskell, Hangman Page and Cody versus Rey Mysterio, Jushin Liger and Hiroshi Tanahashi. If there was ever a more overpowered team than Rey Mysterio, Jushin Liger and Hiroshi Tanahashi, the world probably end. Funny enough, no, the Bullet Club team won over the Dream Team by Cody targeting Jushin Liger near the end, hitting the crossroads and getting the win. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing Marty Scurll versus Rey Mysterio soon. Not sure when. Maybe G1 Special in USA. Not sure. Maybe somewhere else. But yeah, fairly big overall. Now we get into our big singles matches. And first, it's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Will Ospreay, the current champion, versus the winner of the Best of Super Juniors and my favourite wrestler, maybe favourite wrestler of all time, Hiromu Takahashi. A great little match. Great work from both people, great spots. I love a bit of high flying. And Hiromu Takahashi got the win with a time bomb and beat Ospreay and became, I think, 2-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, which I'm really, really happy about. I'm happy to see him come out with the belt, as well as winning Best of Super Juniors. So yeah. Next up, IWGP Intercontinental Championship match. Tetsuya Naito puts it on the line against Chris Jericho. And again, plot twist, Chris Jericho wins. Of a swerve of events, seeming as Jericho earlier said that he was going to play kind of Lesnar role, kind of act like, oh, I'm not really going to be around much, I'm just going to take like certain dates in the year and all that. The fact that they've put the IC Championship on it, very odd. It's good though, because it's putting a lot of spotlight, American spotlight. You put one of the greatest, like, American, well, he's Canadian, but in the greatest wrestlers from US scene into that, and it's quite big. So yeah, very, very good like that. So yeah, it was a good little brawling match. A lot of spots. There was a pile driver onto a table, and the table was supposed to break, but it didn't, and it looked really painful. Oof. And yeah, it was a fairly good match, but the match of the night clearly was Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Kazuchika Okada, the over 700-day reigning IWGP Heavyweight Champion, versus Kenny Omega. It's the fourth bout between them, and it's a no time limit 2 out of 3 falls match. And Jesus Christ, it was my best match ever. I didn't watch the other Omega Okadas live, but when I watched this live and I watched it all, I loved it. I don't normally rewatch things, mainly because I can't, because I don't have subscriptions and shit. But it was just great. It was everything I loved. It was psychology, it was emotion, it was storytelling, it was spots. It was just brilliant. And a lot of people have been like, it wasn't good though, because they were stalling and all that. I didn't notice any stalling. Everything that was there, if they were on the ground, it was because they were too tired. And if they're... It's called a slow build match for a reason. And I just really loved it. I loved it quite a lot. So yeah, it's easily, if we're going by Meltzer ratings, 7 stars. If we're going by normal, 5 stars. 5 stars all the way. It was a brilliant match. And yeah, Dominion was a great. It was just a great event, and I loved it. I'm quite happy to wake up at 8 a.m. to watch that, even though a.m. doesn't sound that bad, really. Yeah, with that done, let's move on, because I'm not going to cover WWE Raw and SmackDown, which happened, because, it is Money in the Bank this Sunday. I didn't notice this. But Raw and SmackDown happened, as they do. Raw and SmackDown happened as they do. It was a Money in the Bank build-up, a couple of fatal four-ways, a bit of a matches things. Not really much happened. It's just kind of the final build. However, there is one thing I do want to mention. Baron Corbin is bold, and it's beautiful. So yeah. Let's just move on to album reviews, because I don't really want to discuss WWE. It's kind of bogging me down recently. So let's just go on to album reviews and see what I've been doing this whole time. And it's pretty cool, because since my last review, I have reviewed 17 albums. Actually, is it 17? Not sure now. It must be, yeah. I think it's 17. No, it can't be. Can't be 17. Let's check. Let's see. No, it's 17. Fair enough. I've reviewed 17 different albums, and I'm here to tell you about my opinions on those albums. Some new, some old, but it's my opinion. Don't take it to heart if I do roast your favourites. I do apologise. So first up, Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. It's quite an iconic album. I don't really recognise the iconicness. I didn't really recognise the iconicness of Guns N' Roses before this, but you've got songs like Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, and Sweet Child of Mine, just 3 iconic rock songs that do live in fame. And I didn't know they all resided on just one album, which is really good. It is all great stuff. Some stuff, though, didn't tickle my fancy. Like, some of them was a bit, fair enough. I think the last song did have moaning, like female moaning in the end of it, so maybe that's why I was a bit to be honest. I don't know. But all in all, it's a very solid album, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. Fairly good. Next up, proudly present A Guide to Love, Loss and Desperation by The Wombats. I've already reviewed The Wombats before, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. This one is their older one, probably the most iconic Wombats album there has been. And, the Wombats are a great band. And the hit songs of this album, you've got Moving to New York, Kill the Director, and Let's Dance to Joy Division. They're just brilliant and really iconic songs of the indie rock scene. And also the song on there, Lost in the Post, I really enjoyed that as well. However, a lot of the songs kind of lacking in comparison, like the hits of the album. It, it didn't do as well. However, I wouldn't give it a 9, but I would give it an 8. I think it hits a good 8. Next up, Wanted on Voyage by George Ezra. If you've never heard of George Ezra, please fix that, because this album is just perfect. The first 5 songs are just masterpieces of music, and the rest of the album is really great too. He has such a soothing voice, and it really makes you just want to bounce. It makes you sing along, wants to relax. Songs like Blame It On Me, Budapest, Callio, they're all good, and Once on Voyage is probably one of my favourite albums ever after listening to it, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It's the 4th 10 of the reviewing series. I don't know why I treat my reviews like gospel, but hey, you gotta think somewhere. Next up, Combat Rock by The Clash. Good old 80s song. Oh, good old 80s band. Combat Rock is a good album that boasts the hit songs Should I Stay or Should I Go, and Rock the Casbah, which is one of my guilty pleasures, I will say. Has a great start to the album. However, after it hits the halfway mark, things kind of drop in quality, you know? As some albums do, kind of just as you go along, you're kind of like, okay, these aren't as good as what I started with. However, Combat Rock gets an average score, and I'd recommend it to people who enjoy the 80s, because I think it does summarise 80s rock quite well. I give it to... it's not 80s rock, it's kind of 80s punk, rebellious kind of thing. It's a 7 out of 10. Next up, America by 30 Seconds to Mars. I didn't really know what to think about this when I came across it. I mean, I've listened to 30 Seconds to Mars before, like, if you think, like, The Kill, Bury Me, or Kings and Queens, and stuff like that. I've listened to that stuff. I was quite amazed at America. The first few singles were the hit singles, as they are, and they were really great. I've heard them before, and I was actually really quite impressed by it. There was a slight drop-off in the middle on quality, however it actually picked up near the end, which was always great, and it had an impactful and also great ending as well. I'd recommend this one for boys, girls, and everyone else. An 8 out of 10. It's a fairly good album. Next up, Colour It In by the Maccabees. It's a pretty good album. It's very indie. Some of the songs feel very good and feel really chill. It's a really great mix of songs, I feel, and I would suggest you have a little listen yourself, because I think it's quite a little nice indie thing, and it's quite a nice thing to relax to. So if you feel like relaxing to a little bit of indie beat, I'd suggest Colour It In by the Maccabees. An 8 out of 10. Next up, they're both by the same band. First up, Nothing More by Nothing More, their self-titled album. I have this one suggester who suggests me music, who I feel like is one of my most trusted. Recently he recommended some Avenged Sevenfold, and I really didn't like that. But he does have some really sick suggestions otherwise. The self-titled album by the prog rock band Nothing More is an amazing example of just how to do music right. It hits hard, you feel raw emotion, and it's just utterly great to listen to. Some of it is a bit shouty, but then the music does help you overcome that. Some of the music is just really great, and for that reason, I just love it, and I had to thank the suggester because I didn't think I'd be hearing anything like that again, and I gave that a 9 out of 10. And the other album by Nothing More, The Stories We Tell Ourselves, the most recent one by them, the suggestors get my utmost respect. The latest album by Nothing More is nothing short of amazing. It triggered the same feelings I felt when listening to their self-titled album, and the intro was kept short to 17 seconds, which is very odd for an intro to an album to just be 17 seconds, which is quite nice. And the intervals were also very short, hard-hitting, emotional, and not as shouty as before, which was quite really nice. It was a brilliant album, and in honesty, I'd probably be listening to more Nothing More, I think. 9 out of 10. Both the albums by Nothing More, 9 out of 10. British Steel by Judas Priest. It's a fairly good rock album from the 1980s, with some good songs, but I do find it quite average compared to other rock albums that I have listened to from the 80s, and from that era. It's fairly good, but nothing really to call home about. 7 out of 10. Next up, oh boy, Day 69 by Day 69 Graduation Day by 6ix9ine. Let me quickly just take a sip of water so I can. Right, okay. Jesus. I'm not very much fan of the rap scene today. Like, I enjoyed a bit of Eminem and all that stuff around that and all that stuff. But the rap scene today is very perplexing to me. It's very mumble, very sweary. So I've taken how the scene is in this day and age, and I've taken it into account. 6ix9ine might be the best person I've heard from the current scene. I say that in a high voice because I feel wrong about saying that, but it might be. The instrumentals are great, and the features he's got, and also the hooks of the songs are pretty good also. The only downside is the very harsh cursing and the abundance of N-words. But I mean, that's probably like rap these days. And I do have a slight disdain for 6ix9ine's rap styling. Nevertheless, it's not too bad. A 6 out of 10. If you are into rap like that, listen to 6ix9ine. Oh god, I just recommended 6ix9ine. Oh god. Oh boy, okay. Next up, Graceland by Paul Simon. It wasn't my cup of tea. Instrumentals and the whole genre was a bit odd to me. Felt a bit more confusing at first. But as I got on, and I also heard the song You Can Call Me Al, which I remembered somehow, it started to grow quite endearing. It was kind of like a bit of an odd, quite kooky album, which kind of you grew respect for. Either way, it's not the best stuff I've heard, but it's not awful. It's a 6 out of 10. Next up, so, as you know, I get people suggesting these albums to me, so I can review things, and I have a whole list of them. The next one I put into a list myself, just because I could. It's called Attention Attention by Shinedown, and I came across this when one of my friends in an E-Fed I'm in had the song Pyro from this album as their theme, and I also found out they had a song called Devil, and I was like, shit, I need that for my E-Fed theme now. But yeah, after hearing two of the songs from it, Pyro and Devil, I felt I had to listen to the whole album, and oh boy, it exceeded my expectations. I'd never heard of these guys before, and it just blew me out of the water. It's hard-hitting, and it holds a lot of the values that I look for in music. It's really enjoyable, and especially the single Devil. Devil's such a great fucking song, and I would recommend that. But I'd also heartily recommend this album as well. It's amazing, and it's a 10 out of 10. My 5th ever 10. My 5th ever 10. They're rare. They're rare. We're on fucking 90 songs, and I've only had 5 which 10s, so, you know, it's a good little, it's a good little thing. Next up, Pale Communion by Opeth. I didn't really enjoy this album. It mixed with a long song lengths and a bit of indifference. Pale Communion didn't really work well with me. I'll admit, as you get to the end of the album, the music is okay and it's good to listen to, but I wouldn't call it enjoyable. For that reason, I do have to give it an average score of a 6 out of 10. Good old water. Next up, Collection 2 by Ali X. Collection spelled with the EC being an X, if you can like visualize that, like COLLXTION 2. Someone fretted me saying don't give this a bad review. Luckily, I didn't have to, because this is actually a really good EP from the artist Ali X. Masterful, even. The start, the middle, and the end are all great pieces of work, especially her single Casanova. I really fucking enjoyed Casanova. I really enjoyed this. It's an airy electropop vibe that I trust that if you had a listen, you would love it. Despite a couple of inflections in the album, it was a great suggestion, and it's a 9 out of 10. It is really, really good, and I recommend it to you. Next up, Night Visions by Imagine Dragons. I really like Imagine Dragons. They're a really underrated band, and they do deserve a lot more recognition than they have. Night Visions was one of the two albums I had downloaded on my phone, on my old phone, like when you had to download them, you didn't have the App Store and all that. There are such iconic songs and really good ones that not many people remember. However, the album isn't as refined as their future albums. Actually, to be honest, it's not as refined as Evolve. Smoke and Mirrors is kind of shit. And compared to others, the undercard of the album isn't the most enjoyable. therefore it doesn't get the highest grade, but I did really enjoy it. It was kind of a bit of nostalgia and I really enjoyed it. It's an 8 out of 10. Next up, Evolve by Imagine Dragons. Speaking of the devil, I called this my album of the year in 2017 when I first listened to it. And it is still a great album, with hit singles such as Believer and Whatever It Takes. I still love those. I also enjoy the undercard songs from the album, but in comparison to some of the albums I reviewed that I've given a 10, I don't think I can give it a 10, compared to the 5 10s I've already given. But it is great. It's not perfect, but it is great, and I give it a 9 out of 10. And finally, to round things off, Master of Puppets by Metallica. Another Metallica album, another decent score. Metallica are impressive a lot of the time, and I'm shaping up to be probably one of my favourites of that rock era. Despite 2 8-minute long songs, the album is a pretty good listen for those in favour of heavy rock, and I'll probably re-listen to it someday again. So that's the album reviews. I hope you enjoyed my reviews for all those songs, and now let's kick into the Q&A portion of everything. So we'll start with the earliest one I had from the time period, and we'll end with the latest one I got. So first up, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for me, Josh, coming on the podcast? So this is basically a deal I made with someone. They said, oh, can I be on like episode 37 of the podcast? And I was like, sure, that's like in 10 weeks for sure. I mean, it's 9 now, 9 weeks. But I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So episode 37, I will have a guest, apparently. Why not? To be honest, I'm quite excited to have a guest on. I might have a guest on earlier, but I'm not sure. It all depends. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a fun little episode, I think. I do enjoy having guests on. Next up, what's your favourite colour of the alphabet? And we're on to the shitty questions of the Q&A. My favourite colour of the alphabet is I'm just going to go red. That's my favourite colour. Alright, now we got the shitty question out of the way. Top 3 favourite Dragon Gate themes. So Dragon Gate is a Japanese promotion. I think, you know what? I'll do something a bit nice. I'm going to play 5 seconds of the theme as I talk about it. Just because due to YouTube's fair use thing, I'm allowed to use 5 seconds, I believe. Yeah. So, oh fuck, I'm going to turn this down a bit. The first one is Blow 'Em Away, the theme for Tribe Vanguard. That's at number 3. It's just quite... Okay, that's 5 seconds. It's quite endearing, I kind of like it. It's very unique for a wrestling theme, and I just really quite like it. It's pretty sick, I feel. Next up after that, and number 2, I'm just trying to remember which one I did put at number 2 now. Of course, it's the party anthem for the Dragon Gate stable, Natural Vibes. Okay. Okay, I think that's 5 seconds. I can't even show you much of this. To be honest, I'm not even getting monetized. I'm going to turn this down a bit. Again, quite unique for wrestling. Natural Vibes are kind of like these kind of cool guys with sunglasses who definitely smoke weed. I need to do podcasts for this. I just need to do podcasts while having this in the background. Anyway, that's number 2. And of course, I think I've played this... I've definitely played this before on podcast. My favourite Dragon Gate theme of all time is this. Again, I like little fun themes, which are very, very stupid. Flam Fly, the theme for Flamita. It's just very, very fun, and that's my number 1. And I just noticed I'm reaching nearly half an hour, so we're gonna have to go over time. Why not? Next up, does comedic wrestling have a place in serious promotions? And despite that answer, which company does it best? I think comedic wrestling does have a place in serious promotions. For example, the place where it does it best. For example, New Japan. They've got Toru Yano, who is quite comedic and adds a bit of humour into those matches. I think I really enjoy Toriyama matches, so I think it does have a serious place in serious promotions. So yeah, New Japan do it best. Where's the best place to hide a corpse? Asking for a friend. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe a graveyard. No one suspects the graveyard to hide a dead body, you know? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be dead bodies there already, but, you know, it's not going to be suspects like, oh yeah, that's the murder victim. Anyway, I shouldn't be speaking about this. People are going to be suspect. Can you do your best attempt at reciting the Steiner Math program from the top of your head? Okay, I'm going to try and do this from the top of my head. I don't know how it starts. How the fuck does this... Okay, I'm going to quickly go to Genius and check how it starts. Okay, if I just look at how it starts, okay. You know, they say that all men are created equal, but you look at me and look at Schmo Joe, and you can see that's not true. See, normally, if you have a one-on-one match between two wrestlers, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal, so you have a 75% at best at beat me. But then, you add Kurt Angle to the mix, and your chances go down. Nah, that's all. What's the part after that? See, the three-way sacrifice, you got a 33 and a third chance of winning, but I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning, because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, I can't go that far. Next up, do we live in a society? God damn it. Veronica! Yes, we do live in a society. That's all I'm going to do. How well do you think Matt Stryker did as a high school teacher before he got into wrestling? I mean, to be honest, the fact he went from a high school teacher to a wrestler... I mean, he must have been fired. So probably he didn't do well. But then again, Hangman Page was actually a high school teacher before becoming... he was a high school teacher part-time while doing wrestling. So, you know, it is what it is. Are the rumours true? The rumours are true! It's... I don't know. Why not? The rumours are true. If you have a rumour about me, it's true. Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. Why is Filipino spelled with an F if the Philippines is spelled with a P? Because... native, it's spelled with an F, but in English it's spelled with a P, I don't know. I actually don't know. And lastly, what was the hardest dab you've ever done? I mean, I hit myself in the face with a dab once, I guess. Yeah, I hit myself in the face with a dab once. But I think that's probably where I'm going to end it with me getting hit in the face with a dab. Thank you for listening, as usual. It's always great to have an audience for these podcasts, and I hope you listen to more soon. I've been Devil, you've been my audience, and thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Good night. Woo!